You might remember Gary Neville as the first man to orgasm live on Sky Sports. But long before his Champions League climax, Gary's life was packed with a surprising amount of scandal. He was hospitalised after guzzling cider, was fined for sexual celebrations, masterminded David Beckham's rowdy stag do, made love to a poster of a teammate, humiliated his brother on live TV, puked vodka all over a swanky hotel, bollocked innocent schoolboys, and fled a gang of vengeful scousers. This is his story. As a youngster in Man United's academy, Gary Neville lived a monk-like existence. But when Alex Ferguson called Gary up to the first team, things turned nasty. Led by chief tormentor Ryan Giggs, Neville's new teammates strip him naked, rub him with a wire wool brush, then throw him in the tumble dryer. And they're not done yet. They force a whimpering Gary to scamper naked around the training pitch. Finally, they pin a poster of teammate Clayton Blackmore to the massage table, and Gary makes love to it. Soon, their rowdy ways start to rub off on him. When Gary rocks up to a reserve game hungover after a night drinking cider, Fergie loses the plot. "It's gone to your head, Neville," he barks, and banishes him from the first team for 6 weeks. But his cider-fueled chaos is just getting started. At the 1995 Christmas party, Gary guzzles can after can of the golden nectar. After 6 drinks, he disappears, and his teammates find him asleep on the pavement outside a Chinese takeaway. They bundle him into a taxi, and a bewildered Neville orders the driver to take him straight to the hospital. On arrival, he tells the nurses his name is Simon Brown. When his teammates finally arrive to collect him, Gary's propped up in a wheelchair in reception, but he doesn't learn his lesson. 6 months later, Gary Neville wins his first Premier League title. At the celebrations, he sinks half a pint of vodka straight from the bottle before projectile vomiting all over the reception of a swanky hotel. The summer of 1999 is a big one for G Nev. He wins a famous treble with United and is named best man for David Beckham and Posh Spice's wedding. The press hype up the stag do of the century. But Gary's plans fall flat when Bex himself fails to show up. The next day, a bleary-eyed Gary steals the show with this killer line in his best man speech.
David said that the Spice Girls requested that the Bayern Munich team be present today, and David was puzzled at this request and asked why, and he said that the Spice Girls replied that they'd love to meet any men that can stay on top for 90 minutes and still come second.
And he's standing up for his teammates again when Rio Ferdinand is dropped for England over his missed drugs test. Gary leads a mutiny in the England squad, threatening to strike for a crunch qualifier in Turkey. The tabloids brand him the most hated footballer in the country. After that, you'd think Rio would be thanking him. Instead, he stitches Gary up on his hidden camera prank show. Ahead of the 2006 World Cup, a stony-faced Neville is pulled in for speeding by actors dressed as police. After a row with the cops, a cackling Rio emerges to tell Neville, "You got murked!" To be fair, it's not easy to get a smile out of Gary. When ex-United keeper Peter Schmeichel lines up against him for Man City, Neville refuses to shake his hand and sends a death stare into the distance. It's nothing personal though, he does the same thing to his own brother. Poor old Phil's snubbed again as England overlook him for the 2006 World Cup in Germany. But Gary and their dad, the imaginatively named Neville Neville, head to Baden-Baden. While Gary's knuckling down preparing to face Paraguay, his dad is having a rager with the wags. He climbs on a chair in a nightclub and delivers a belting rendition of God Save the Queen. And Neville Neville's not the only Neville dancing with delight. Back in the Premier League, Gary celebrates a last-minute winner against Liverpool by sprinting the length of the pitch to gloat in front of the fuming Scousers. He's hauled before an FA hearing and later recalls, "Some old blazer asked me whether there'd been any sexual connotations in my pumped fist gestures." It wasn't long before the Anfield faithful took revenge. The night before United play Liverpool, police order Gary to flee his house because a gang are planning to break in. And when a group of Liverpool fans spot him in traffic, they surround the car and try to flip it over. A terrified Gary is only saved by the green light. In 2011, Gary hangs up his boots and sets his sights on management, but his dugout dream soon becomes a nightmare. Valencia fans are baffled when the club appoint Gary as boss, despite him having no managerial experience and not speaking a word of Spanish. They were right. The once proud Spaniards go 8 games without a win, and they're thrashed 7-0 by Barcelona. Furious ultras surround the team bus, showing him the middle finger, and he's sacked after just 3 months. Reeling from his disastrous spell in Spain, Gary slips on his best suit for a seat on the Sky Sports sofa. But he has a rough start there too. A painfully awkward Gary giggles nervously through his first day on the job as he tries to interview Roberto Mancini.
I bet I never thought you'd be interviewed by me.
He soon finds his feet though, striking up a bromance with his former foe, Jamie Carragher. And he's cemented as a fan favourite when he greets a late Fernando Torres goal with that orgasmic climax.
To give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written. Unbelievable!
But those squeals of joy don't last long. When some schoolboys get hold of Gary's number and prank call him, he loses his rag.
Right, who the fuck have you got my number off?
They tell him they got his number from Tony Adams, and Gary tells the kid,
Shut up, you fucking dick.
it's not long before his blood is boiling again. Asked about roast dinners by a Sky Sports presenter, he goes on a furious rant against the humble potato.
Mashed potato, jacket potato, boiled potato, dauphinoise potato, parmesan terre potato, all these things that they do with potatoes, just cut them, fry them, and stop putting truffle and oregano on and all that salt and pepper and shit that they start.
After decades of hot-headed antics, Gary could probably use some time off. Fortunately, he's finally discovered the concept of a holiday, or as he calls them, mini retirements.
This weekend, I'm going to Spain, Friday till Monday morning. That's like a mini retirement. So
That's a weekend.
If he's ever on a mini retirement and needs someone to fill in for him, we've got just the man. Gary's Middle Eastern doppelganger, Abu Dhabi sports pundit Hassan Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.